Do it.
Push
Do
the
it.
button.
Do
Push
it
that
real
thing
good.
so that it
Do it.
happens. And then,
Do it.
because then, it'll start and we can do it and it'll happen and we'll finish at some point in time before after mid. Hey, oh, wait.
Hey, we're
what's that
live.
thing?
I was going to the beats of Mike, the rhythm of Mike talking. It was kind of fun, actually. I'm going to just push my. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this new setup. I'm in a brand new hookup here. I got 3 monitors in front of me and a shelf behind me full of pop figures. So it's a lot of fun right now. We're live with the Metal Lab, and I am joined this week by Mike.
Hello.
And Jay.
Hi.
All right, Weekend Hero Clicks. How's it been, guys? Well, I can tell you mine, but I've shared mine for the most part. So, Mike, how's your week been in Hero Clicks so far?
It was pretty good. Only really ever get to play once a week now on the Sunday games, but this week was Days of Future Past up at 401 Games in the North location.
Well, not the North location, the other.
The only location now for me, which now in my head is the North location for it. Which thankfully my toe has healed enough. It turns out that when I injured my toe, it was a broken toe. Because I don't do things half-assed. Anyway, so it's healed enough that I could make the 10-minute walk up and downhill to get to this new venue. Sigh, winter, coming, sigh.
Winter is coming.
Yeah. So anyway, it was Days of Future Past. So I was excited for that because I wanted to get that Wolverine wanted poster ID card there. I made a choice to myself that I wasn't going to be so hardcore meta for this. One, because with Canada Cup coming up, I'm going to really, put my head towards that. And two, there's been a lot of these events before in the past, 4-month and 6-month events, where it leads to getting points and you win a figure at the end by having the most points. And I have won multiple of these in the past. Fear Itself, AVX. I'm trying to think of some other ones that I've won, but anyway, and I get those figures and they sit there on the shelf. That's now in the garage because my wife won't let me have stuff in the house. And I don't play it. You know what I mean? Like, you're excited to get it, and I love to get all this stuff, but some of it you just never get to play. So I decided to say, you know what? I feel like that's kind of what might happen with the Tri-Sentinel, though he does have a call-in. So that's good. But you guys can still hear me, though, right?
We can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. My camera froze up. Here, watch. Let's try this again. It's always something, right? If I do this and then do this.
Hey, there we go. It's working again.
So, anyway, sorry.
It's all good.
So, I just thought I wouldn't be so meta in my building for month 1. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't just going to put all that energy in it and be so like, oh my God, I got to win this thing and I got all the points. Take all the points. So after talking with Mr. Collins, even between 2 team ideas I had, which were super simple. The build format was you brought 150 points of figures, and I can't remember the specific wording. Jay Solomon can fix it for us, but basically the gist was to bring figures, not to bring resources and IDs and all this extra stuff. It was basically you could bring figures. You could have objects provided that they came already equipped on the people, like from Mighty Thor as an example. But basically it was just figures and that was it. Right, Jay? That was pretty much it.
Yeah, and like shifting focus sideline.
Yes.
But that was...
Yeah, that was it. So you couldn't bring, like, I brought them along just in case, I wasn't sure, but like the trouble alert chase call-ins, you couldn't use those. Even though there are no points and they are figures, we're just saying no because you're not paying points to have them. And, it was really meant to be more about what was on the map, because the other half of your build was going to come from a booster that you were going to buy at the venue and build accordingly, right? So I decided I was just going to play it really simple for myself, and I just went with Rare Batman, Alfred dressed in the lovely white suit. That was it. And of course, because we could have, and because we could have objects, the Batarang. For a quick reminder, the Batarang, everybody, Batarang card. It's pretty sweet. It's basically a free ranged attack. Well, it's a ranged attack normally, but on Batman, it becomes a free action to activate a ranged action there to throw his Batarang, and he does one less damage, but it ignores hindering, it ignores elevated, it ignores characters. And, I was kind of looking at it as it's pretty useful when you think about it on this Batman. He's got a 9 movement with sidestep, which means I can move him 11 squares and then throw the Batarang for free for another 4. So that's a 15 square swing. That's pretty big, right? So anyway, it's not bad. And, a little perplexed from Alfred, and I try to keep the two of them together a lot to get the bonus. And, that was my thinking. It's not weak, but it's not super mega meta, as it were. So my booster, of course, I bought a Batman Animated Series booster, and I didn't really pull anything that exciting out of it at all. Pulled a Harvey Bullock. I pulled a Scarecrow, just the uncommon Scarecrow. J-Man, the uncommon there. Common Robin, and Rare Joker. That was it. So nothing special in the pack. And sadly, only 2 of the 5 figures had Gotham City. So I could not make theme. I just need one of the other figures to have Gotham City, and it actually would have had theme on my team, but I didn't. So instead, what I chose to do, I'm so not happy about that. I went with Harvey Bullock, the Robin, because Perplex. Why not Perplex? Like, that's always useful. Plus, he's got 10 movement, sidestep, and he ignores elevated and hindering. So he gets around pretty seriously. Like, he's a great figure for 30 points, really. Great fill-in figure. Harvey Bullock, like I mentioned, because why not PD if I'm going to be making those ranged attacks with the Batarang, as well as because I decided to choose Rare Joker. Leadership giving me one more action. He can use Harvey Bullock as some mastermind fodder if he really wants to. And he's not bad. I mean, poison, super senses, shape change, 3 damage, and he's got Indomitable. So, and the sidestep. So I was able to actually utilize him pretty good. Like I said, not able to make theme, but I had ways of taking tokens off of people. I had 2 perplexes between Alfred and Robin. And I had a guy who was able to move around and throw that Batarang. Plus 4 of my 5 figures had stealth. What was weird was originally on the win, it said 12 people were coming, but only 6 ended up showing up. And one of those 6 was actually Jay, the judge. So it was kind of weird. I don't know why all of a sudden we lost half the people.
That was because we had to move the event.
Oh, it was
just the date shifted. It was the same URL, same event. It was just people didn't unregister when they realized I can't come to the new time.
See, I thought it was people register for that. So sadly, my team ended up being a lot better than I thought it was. Tom came, and funnily enough, Tom and I had a discussion earlier in the day via text about the event, and I expressed what I expressed about not wanting to play as competitive. And his team originally was pretty hardcore, and he dialed it back a bit himself. He kind of felt the same way, like, actually, after we talked, I thought maybe I'd dial it back. So Tom and I faced each other first round. He had a weird hodgepodge of stuff because, it's Tom. And he played the Chase Loki from Thor with the staff. What the hell else did he have on his sleeve?
Retaliator Sinestro.
That was it. Retaliator Sinestro.
Ray goes to 40.
Yeah. God, what else? It was such. Oh, he threw a whatchamacallit on there. A suited henchman. It was such a weird hodgepodge of stuff. Oh, and yeah, Gray goes to 40. That was it. And then he went with a Avengers Infinity booster and ended up just playing 150 point Nova. Because out of what he pulled, like, why wouldn't you, really? I mean, he's a great figure, hypersonic. You can't outwit him and stuff. But I really just the only thing I was afraid of was if you managed to get lucky with a hit, but I had such high numbers and neither one of us had prob because neither one of us got theme out of the whole thing. And really that's what it came down to is Tom couldn't make the rolls on my numbers and I just picked apart his team. I made sure to get rid of that retaliate. The retaliator came over, tried to hit me, couldn't even hit Alfred. Or actually, no, that's wrong. Sorry. He did hit Alfred. He killed Alfred. But then I just ripped him apart after that. I killed the retaliator with like a free attack. I was hopping up and down rooftops. All the dice rolls went my way after that, and Tom didn't have any good dice rolls. So unfortunately for him, he lost. Fortunately, I won. My second round opponent was it Braden I played second?
Yeah, Braden and Bruce.
Yeah, Braden I played second. And he went with he was trying to play an X-Men team. And he got burned on the booster and couldn't actually build an X-Men theme with what he pulled from the booster. So he had kind of a weird hodgepodge of stuff. He had Rusty. He had the uncommon Magneto? That's
the New Mutant Headmaster one. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a Prime Moira. He had Karma. He had an ex-student. And I'm Sprite. So it was a real, again, there's a little bit of usefulness there, and there could be some synergy there. But he picked the Poison Ivy map from the starter, and it's got that chunk of elevated in the middle. Well, the Batarang doesn't care about that chunk of elevated. Plus, I don't care about hindering, and there's a whole bunch of hindering. So I just put myself in a chunk of hindering, right on like the corner. If you imagine the sort of the angle of that thing of elevated in the middle, I just sat here, and sometimes I popped around the corner with my side steps and shot. Sometimes I just threw a Batarang through the elevated, and just one at a time. I just decided who did I want to kill, and I killed that figure, and then hit. Sidestep out. Sometimes it's crazy how good this Batman can be because you can sidestep out, throw the Batarang, and then take a move action to put him somewhere safe, or just to move him the 2 back. And then next turn you could sidestep back over again and throw the Batarang again if you want. It was crazy. I was just actions every turn. So there wasn't really much he could do about it. I lost nothing and wiped out his team. My last game was against Bruce. Another local player, of course, because it was a local venue. And Bruce's team, God, what was his team, Jay? You remember everything.
He brought Chase Cyclops at 100.
Yeah.
Skeets at 35 and Serpent Punisher?
Yes.
And I think he opened an X-Men pack. I have no idea what he played.
I don't think it was Serpent Punisher, though. I think it was actually... I thought it was actually Ape Green Lantern.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Maybe? Because the range... I don't know.
Yeah, because it was a flyer. I remember at one point because he went to carry them, but they were a flyer or something like that. It was weird. It was
probably Green Lantern then.
Yeah. It was really weird. He I guess he maybe didn't bring maps or something. So I don't think
he owns maps really.
Yes, I gave him the pile of maps that I brought, and he went for what he could find was the most open and least hindering map. And the only one I had in that fit that was that. It's not the Avengers compound, but it's the one, it's got just that one bit of elevated. It's got the couple of trees that are actually
the Avengers rooftop.
Thank you, Avengers rooftop. I knew it wasn't compound. And he picked that map, which, in theory is pretty good. There's not a lot of hindering there. And clearly his team is just, he had magic on there as well, and he had penance on there. So he just sends penance around the side because he's hoping to sort of leap climb in and then move 5 and blades me, which is pretty obvious. And the rest of his team is moving together to get Cyclops into position to range attack. Well, of course, 4 of my 5 figures are stealth, so I'm not going to come out of stealth, and I'm going to hide the one guy who can't. I shoot 2 squares of blocking terrain in one of the trees and move Alfred and Batman into that position. And I think it's going to be a whole jockeying for position thing. And he suddenly moves all but penance next to Batman. So I'm like, okay. And I hit with Batman, and then I sidestep to another position and throw a Batarang, and Joker throws an object at one point in time and kills somebody, and it was, yeah, everything went my way. Cyclops died immediately as soon as he moved next to Batman, because I put all my perplexes into Batman's damage. I outwitted toughness, and I punched him and killed him. Plus, Batman had an object in his hand at that moment, so that was 6 damage. So later. Yeah, it just annihilated that team too. So I was really surprised that this 2-figure casual sort of build of mine ended up being as powerful as it was. It is a numbers game. A 12 attack is pretty huge, especially when most of us didn't have probs to re-roll things. So I managed to win the event, went 3-0, got that pretty sweet Shadowcat, Sprite, whatever, Kitty Pride ID card, and I got some juicy points towards the event. So great day of clicks.
Nice. So you as well went in with low expectations and came out another owner of a Shadowcat. Apparently you're supposed to give 0 Fs in order to win a Shadowcat.
Sometimes that's how it works, man.
All right. Jay, how was your week?
Okay. I guess I should mention I was at that event as well, but judging, but only ended up playing because there would have been a bye otherwise. So I did the thing where I played against the bye round. What did I do? They got the minimum 150 points, half whatever, and then if they scored more, they got more kind of thing. So they got to play, but they weren't losing to me. I don't know. I figure it was the best way to go and just not give people a bye. I didn't want to actually play and beat people and knock people out of the sort of competitive thing. So I figured I went for the best option. I brought a bunch of Trouble Alert actual characters. I brought Wonder Woman at full, Adam at full, Robin at the low, which may as well be the only starting line, and then 2 suited henchmen because there was just nothing else to do with 10 points. Anticipating buying a Batman booster and getting something to carry with the henchmen, but I ended up getting a Batman Beyond and Talia, which I played. So I ended up with 2 probs between the Adam and the Talia, so that was pretty good. So I played Richard round 1, who brought a full point Phoenix Force Storm, pulled and played Common Marvel Girl and what was it? Old Man Logan. And he had the choice of being underbuilt by 25 or playing Artie and getting theme. It was like, why? You wouldn't play Artie anyway, so just may as well get theme. I actually managed to win map roll because he crit missed, and I rolled a 6. I picked the Sporting Arena because it had a bunch of hindering for Batman Beyond, and he ignores it anyway. So basically, I just move everybody up. He does a TK Pulse Wave, crit hits my whole team. So he kills the Robin, kills the henchman, dings everybody else. Wonder Woman's off for hypersonic. I was like, I figured with the swing he would probably hit, but the crit 2 damage on everybody was not ideal. So basically, I go in and start missing attacks. He finally gets Old Man Logan in. He hits some attacks, but rolls some really crappy blades and doesn't ding Batman Beyond. We go back and forth for a while, and it ends up being his damage Storm on the last click with a token and Marvel Girl against my Talia. Switched to the other dial, last click, Batman Beyond somewhere in the middle of the dial. And Storm has Earthbound on that last click. So it was either he keeps regenning up, I keep on hitting him, back and forth, whatever, or he just pulse waves to get more points, basically. So he pulse waved, which killed Storm, and hit Batman Beyond, but then it was literally Batman Beyond versus Marvel Girl, so I just finished it off from there. He ended up KOing exactly 150 points, funnily enough. Then I played against Tom's weird craziness team. So I knew I had to go for the Nova as soon as possible. So he won map, put us on Prison 42. So he moves up. I realized that I can have Wonder Woman hypersonic in to hopefully at least ding Nova off of Hypersonic, which makes my day a little easier. But then, and I also have Prob on it, needing like a 7, so I get the attack, but he rolls Impervious. Loki mind controlled Wonder Woman because the staff gives mind control. Attacks happen back and forth, but basically I had another opportunity to attack Nova. I think I just missed. And so he was on his top click the whole time. Missed some attacks. He hit some good attacks. It didn't really matter anyways, but he ended up winning and wiping me. Had a lot of cool attacks where if I crit hit, cool stuff would have happened, but crit hits did not happen. Like when I went to attack his Retaliator with my suited henchman, thinking that I had Empower on it, but it was the one with Empower, so not that it really mattered. I scored some points. Then the last round, I played against Brayden, who had the almost X-Men Cacophony. He wins map roll and put us on the rooftop Batman the Animated Series map with all the obscuring terrain. So basically, he moves up a little. I don't know why he picked this map. It wasn't really great for his team because he had a little bit of TK, but not so much move and attack. So basically, I parked my Batman Beyond on the hindering, and I guess he didn't realize that it was hindering because he was setting it for a Rusty attack, but then was like, uh-oh, it's stealth, so he couldn't do it. He ended up killing something or other, but I wiped him otherwise. He took some points from me. I can't remember. I actually remember. At one point I had suited henchman push itself to death just to do an attack, get out of the way. Another one moved. Basically, my whole team moved just so I could actually have the Atom Pulse Wave. I can't believe I actually got the Atom Pulse Wave. It was fun times. So that happened.
Atom was good. So Z told you he was good.
Oh yeah, he's a neat little dial. It's he's a little hard to maneuver with the no movement attack, but like he can do some cool stuff. George Washington leadership is cool. I also got practice games in with Tom before and after the tournament, running my current. I don't know why I built a team because I don't play competitive, but I built a team. Right now it's sitting at Ironheart, Lockjaw, Joker at 50, picking up the Symbiote, 2 Mudmen, Overdrive, Carnage, Groot. That should be 8 characters. So basically, and then Boxing Ring, Joker map bonus, 7 ID cards, which are Blackbird student versions of Jean, Beast, Cyclops. Cyclops for the obvious one, Jean for the chase, Beast for the uncommon, who has either +1 attack or +1 damage dealt quake. So he can deal with some stuff. And then I had 5-point ID cards. I had Professor X, both versions of Wolverine, and Joker. And my Joker options were Christmas or Title. Title can do some randomly good stuff, and then in the occasional Unimind matchup could be relevant. And what else? Joker is just insane. Like, being able to call in anything relevant is just it's good. So one of the games against Tom went to time, and we finished out the rounds, and I won. It's basically, yeah, he like tried to tank me to screw up my positioning, but he didn't realize how something. I think he didn't realize that the Mudbend could get tokens back, which is insanely easy these days, depending on what your opponent's playing. And I took some points. I killed his tank after he tanked me and whatever, but I would have won. Because basically, he managed to interfere with my first turn, which is TK Joker onto the symbiote with Lockjaw. That's 2 actions. Pilot the vehicle. Overdrive carries the 2 Mudmen and the 2 Walking Woods to start some action going. But he had the Penguin map bonus. He had the Pogs. So he had one of his Pogs jump on top of the symbiote to interfere. So he managed to screw up my initial deployment a little bit. But it was still interesting to see what weird ideas Tom has these days, because Tom makes some interesting stuff. So we did 2 games, and then one of them he just could not roll a single thing. It was like he was missing his attacking, his fast forces, penguin needing like sixes. It was just a nightmare. And it got to the point where I was KOing stuff and I was base, and he just conceded because he just wanted to go home at that point. And then I also last night played a practice game against Braden. And basically, I like playing against Starro at 100 points because men are just like eat the Starro fights. And it's like, okay, I have a 10 attack on your 10 defense. Let's see if I don't crit miss. So I think I had a Mudman with 4 life tokens at one point, which considering they start at 4 or start at 2 is pretty good. I've been liking the team. It does good stuff. I don't like certain random matchups like Hawkeye, but I'm not worried about it because I'll play at like opens and stuff, and I'll play test with people. So it's been really annoying so far. Mike played against a similar version of it, so he could definitely speak to how annoying it is. But that was otherwise, you're not even on camera and you're muted, so that doesn't really do anything.
I know because I was still chewing.
Okay, but yeah, undying is it's a thing, kids.
It was really annoying, and you know, Mudmen, like for real. Why do we make pogs that are this deadly? And yeah, I call them pogs.
Super Senses shape change. You have to hit them 3 times to kill them, and they have plasticity.
It's idiotic.
Anybody else remember how much time we spent making fun of all the other bystanders that they put in the TMNT4 starter or fast forces?
Hey,
and then they put the Mudman out. Like, they didn't even put the Mudman out as a preview. They just released the Mudman, and it was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, it's funny because all the starter figures were good. The Mudman, like pretty much everything except for the Pogs, besides the Mudman, were just really good. It was like, oh, now I need multiple Mudmans. Thanks, WizKids.
It was so weird, man.
Horrible. Horrible, I tell you.
It's good to hear you guys had a lot of fun in the event and had a lot of weird stuff. Unlike the event I went to, or actually Jay was there too, where it was everybody had X-Men.
That's what I thought was going to happen. That's totally what I expected to happen, was just X-Men-a-thon.
Yeah, there was a lot, but there wasn't quite the it was way more than I had ever expected. That's for sure. But yeah, it's been an interesting week for myself as well because I started as I mentioned last week, the new show Into the Mind of Madness, or HeroClix Madness is actually called, because I don't want to be messing up people's SEOs. It's been interesting to share my thoughts with the community and out loud and think out loud, where I'm usually kind of stuck in my own brain and not really sharing as much. And now that I'm sharing and I have the chat and everything, every so often a good idea comes across. And I've come up with some wacky stuff in 2 episodes. I'm going to be coming up with some more wacky stuff. I'm decided on my team for ROC Canada Cup, that's for sure. Because we came up with something very similar to my monster theme team, but it's different enough for me to go, I think I want to try this. And it's different and it's fun. And it's probably not going to win, but it could do some neat stuff. And I'm going to have some fun with this. So you can check out episode 2 if you want to really dive deep into that. But once again, we have another week of not much HeroClix news. Therefore, we have to talk about our preparations for the ROC Canada Cup and how they're going for the most part. And as of, I've been sharing a good portion of mine. I've probably got a little bit more to reach on that. But I know, Mike, you were in here last week, and when we started talking about this, have you been putting much thought into ROC Canada Cup? With your mic unmuted.
Yeah, there it is. Of course, yeah. Lots of thought into Canada Cup. I had a practice session last Wednesday with Mr. Tom Kerr and with Miss Emily Rowett over at a place called Face to Face Games, which is in the east end of the city.
Oddly enough, I'm doing magic shopping on their website right now.
Well, there you go. Sadly, they do not host HeroClix events. Really wish that would happen. And if there's anybody who is local in Toronto and wants to judge there, you should contact them and make that happen, because I miss Clicks being so close to home. So we went and played for a while. I mostly was playing the team that I've been playing for a while, the one that I finished second with at the WKO, the one I had played at Nationals and did not play well with. Mostly because, that's where my head was at, and I wanted to sort of see whether or not it was a flash in the pan or whether or not it could handle a lot of the adjustments. It still has potential to it, but I'll be honest, I'm starting to feel, a little stale with it. So with new sets, of course, we're always building. What's great about these practice sessions is sometimes it takes you down a whole different road of thinking about teams. Like you're sitting there. In fact, I came up with a whole other team just while Emily and Tom were playing, because we were all just talking about things. We were all just talking about stuff that was out there, and sort of what we've been noticing is a bit of a trend with things, especially in our neck of the woods. And I started fiddling around and, pulled out my phone, went to the good old HC Realms units page and started building and started fiddling with things. So, I'm still playing around. I think this Wednesday we're going to meet again and have another practice session. So I'm going to probably try out something I just sent out to a couple of you. I sent to Mr. J. Solomon the other day, which was inspired by what happened yesterday at that event. So a little something I'm building around this Batman. I feel he's a little tough at 125 points. I feel like that's a lot. And but you know what? I like trying things. It's there's so much great stuff in this game, and regardless of how much it can be tough sometimes with how much product comes out and the frequency that product comes out, there is something to be said about a freshness that can happen and having things come in and keep the meta from being too much in one thing. That X-Men set is tough. It's really got its claws in the meta right now because at the end of the day, this is a game about numbers, right? We play with dice. It's a game about numbers. The number of perplexes that are popping up on these X-Men teams, you can't really deny the number thing. So I'm excited whenever new sets come so that we can keep building new things and trying new stuff out and breaking down the old and building up new. So yeah, of course, always thinking about the big shows, and Canada Cup, that's the biggest one coming.
Cool. Jay, I know you're judging for it, but have you found any new interesting rules? You know what? There was one that I mentioned on the Into the Mind of Madness that came up as start of the show of one of my shows. But any interesting new rulings that you've come across?
Leadership in 2018 rules is pretty relevant for competitive. Like, let's say you have a team and you only have 3 actions. You do 2 normal actions. Your third is you call in the Wolverine, who is already super, super good. And look at that. You have leadership, which adds the action just whenever you have that character. So it's like, oh, well, there's my 4th action. Or I can't remember if this came up last week, but I had a situation where I had a Wolverine ID who I wanted to poof, but I had to do the 4th action before he poofed, so I had leadership on map. It's so weird, but it's really good, and I blew Tom's mind with that yesterday because he somehow had a team with no leadership and was like, oh, I can call in Cyclops and then do the actual action with him and whatever. So the leadership thing is the most relevant. Also, Trouble Alert Wonder Woman is a thing, so as if she needs you any better.
What about the Shredder thing we discussed?
Oh, that was important.
I was discussing it on Metal Lab last week. I remember because I almost went out and bought a bunch of extra Shredder illusions.
You did?
I did not. I said I almost did.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, because we were talking about the whole stuff KOing, going to the KO area thing, and I was studying for the ROC judge test, and I was reading the comp, and I was like, oh, that might be relevant. Because what was the wording? It was like, if an effect generates, so generate being outside of your force, and you've run out of that element, you can reuse stuff from your KO area. So that's relevant for, I mean, the Shredder Illusion doesn't get scored anyways, but you have to keep track. So like you can reuse tribbles, you can reuse demons, you can reuse suited henchmen, whatever, from your KO area.
Which is awesome, which is what I've always wanted it to be that way.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you can keep track of what was scored.
Sure.
But
piece of paper, man.
That was the issue with the Shredder Illusion. We were like, well, it's not even scored anyway. There's no reason why you can't reuse it, and you can. So it's all.
I am still allowed to bring all 14 of my Wakandan warriors with me, right? My record is 7.
Nice.
I will say.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of the things that's come up sort of in this building thing. I don't know if you guys talked about the month 2 ID cards on the last show or not. The Phoenix one, the Rachel Gray one. Did you guys talk about it on the show? I don't know if
we mentioned the Colossus and Rachel Gray, and the idea that the Colossus does have an 80-point option that's out there, so he's not worthless in any way, shape, or form.
Well, what I noticed right away, like these things are crazier and crazier as we go along, because that Rachel Gray one, so she comes in, right? Marvel Girl is one of the options.
Yep.
So, and the inspiration is running shot.
Yep.
So I could just call this 50-point Marvel Girl out next to, I don't know, how about Starshine Prime, who has a 12 movement, 8 range, that ignores characters in hindering terrain, 11 attack, psychic blast, and now I could TK her 6 squares. She can run another 6 and then shoot 8.
Mm-hmm. Or she could run 6, shoot 8, and get TK'd back.
Yeah. And when she shoots that 8, she would get to use the ranged combat expert in that time if she doesn't running shot. Like, I mean, it's just, what is going on?
All because Rachel Summers was that for 5 minutes or something in the 90s.
Yeah, literally. Like,
I mean, on the plus side, we have this is a character who hasn't really been represented in the game, with the exception of, like, I think we've had 3 of that particular Phoenix, one of which was called the Hound, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And she was garbage.
Weren't there 2 old Hounds? There was the one that came in the...
There was the one that came in the Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
There was the
one before that.
There was a Phoenix in that one.
Yeah. The one that looked like...
Yeah. And then there was Phoenix from the Excalibur
team base,
team base. And I think those are all the representations of Rachel Summers.
No, we got a really bad Rachel Summers in Days of Future Past as well. She had like 6 movement running shots.
Yeah, she just not looking like the Hound, though.
Yeah,
no, that was just Rachel Summers.
She kind of looked like Nathaniel Richards, or
because they were all in the greenish khaki, whatever.
In the jumpsuits,
jumpsuits.
Yeah, the prison outfits, wasn't it?
Something like that.
They looked more like leisure suits or something. It was a Venture Brothers thing.
Future.
What do they call those? The speed suits.
Speed suits.
They look like speed suits.
I've only seen like a couple episodes of that show. I really got to watch
some more of it. Oh my God.
I'm doing myself a disservice. I got so many shows to catch up on. Venture Brothers isn't the only one. So
Venture Brothers is so amazing. I can't even tell you. Especially Hanna-Barbera references galore. It's so good.
I managed to catch Keanu finally yesterday with Amber, because I tried to watch that movie before, but it was on an airplane. So it was like the censored version of it. And it was like the worst thing I've ever seen. But then I realized when I got to the club that it was definitely censored. It's like, I'm supposed to be seeing something there.
Well, I watched Pop Star today.
That's so funny.
It is. It's really good, man. If you haven't seen this movie, you should check it out. I went in with good old low expectations, but it was a perfect afternoon movie to be doing other stuff, and I laughed, man. It was funny. It was great. It was well put together.
Yeah. My son, oddly enough, wanted to see The Meg. Took him to see that. He loved it. 5-year-old kid love the Meg. It is pretty kid safe. I think there's like one scene of gore, and it's not even like people gore. So it's a whale.
Jaws.
So, yeah. It's family friendly Jaws, if that means anything to you. Also, anybody complaining about the cost of building a HeroClix team, try to build a sideboard for the black and red Hollow One modern deck in Magic the Gathering. You can eat my butthole. I like that. When I said I was Magic shopping, I was trying to maybe finish that deck off, and oh my god, I think one of the cards was $120. All right, yeah. So anyway, this is what happens in our prep. We go on. This is why we never focus. We go on tangents, and what's worse is this is going to be probably the most attended ROC Canada Cup I've ever seen as far as the spread of people. Because every year prior to this year, I think we've seen one American, and his name is Adam Cole, and he wants to remind us that he's the only American there at length. But now, ladies and gentlemen, a Canadian living in America is coming with her significant other.
Entourage.
Yeah, her entourage, as it were, because there's going to be a bunch of Americans coming.
We have a reigning Canadian champion. We have Chris Stockhouse finally. We have Adam.
Yeah, Adam is coming?
As far as, he's supposed to.
I don't know. His car broke down a while back, so I don't know if he got that fixed or not.
He did last I checked.
Okay. But, I've been an incredibly terrible friend and haven't bothered to ask him.
I was going to say, though, before we transition to something else, I did stumble upon interesting rules minutia that could be pretty relevant depending on how
I'm just going to tell you, where do you think we were going to move on to? I was probably going to start talking about the fact that I'm considering going to watch wrestling live tomorrow. This is our week, so go ahead.
We should have notes. We should do some notes or something.
We used to have a notes document, and here, let me pull up what that note document would look like today.
Let's just plan a little.
What's
our motto? What's our motto even?
Practice. It's got nothing to do with planning. Here's what this week's document looks like.
Nice.
There, you got it? All right, good.
It's all about me, Mr. White.
Because this is the thing. We used to keep Google Doc, and I think I put Jay in charge of that. So what's up with that, Jay?
Well, there was your first mistake.
How's it under that bus there? Anyway, Jay, you were saying about another ruling you found.
Well, it's not ruling as much as I think WizKids had a brain fart. And okay, so basically, title character rules are not in the actual rule book; they're in the comp. The comp hasn't been updated. It's already out of date. I was reading up on the rules, whatever, and someone asked me a question about title characters. I went into the rule book, and I went to look at the title characters from the most recent set. And it's kind of a weird situation where we have a new character text on a card that outdates, or that is newer than the comp, which is a year, whatever. I don't know if we are getting a new one. It hasn't been updated. There's no 2018 one. So the title character Batman, Batgirl say from the most recent set, you may only have one title character on your starting force. That's kind of relevant because I pulled out the rulebook for this. Starting force, blah, 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 but does not include your starting sideline. So, theoretically,
ID card loves that.
Yeah, you could.
So I can have a title character on my team and use title Harley.
No.
Yeah, that's it. Title Harley. Oh,
you could do both title Joker and Harley
on my sideline.
Do a main force one if this goes through, but
if they don't fix this,
yeah. The problem is I didn't do rules recap last week because there weren't any rulings. I don't know. They don't answer my questions. So somebody ask WizKids for clarification. I don't know.
I have to beg on screen again for these guys to answer questions regardless of whether or not you put the posting up? Because you send us a message with this generic thing. I know you could edit that with additional comments. Just throw the answer in there because people want the answer. God.
Yeah. So the problem is I'm a judge, and this document, because we got the 2018 rulebook, but the information for title, because the comp has all of what a title character includes, but it's beyond out of date. I don't know. Like, I know it's technically the correct rules document, but like, if somebody shows up to a tournament with this, I don't know what I say. So, as far as I know, you could
There's
have...
the door. Leave our store.
Sorry, what?
So nice to meet you. Leave our store.
Yeah, so as far as I know, you could do title Joker, title Harley, main force, title Batgirl. Because that's how the rules work, and this is a more current document. So somebody who's not me
I would totally do that too. There's some potency there.
I mean,
now,
yeah.
You say they don't answer your questions. Have you put in a question for this one? Because it is important that this one gets answered.
Well, the problem is it's not even like a rules question. It's more of a your documents are weird question. And I don't even know who to ask. Like, I don't know if a rules form will...
Here's the thing, though. Putting that question in the rules form puts eyes on it.
Yeah.
And if somebody's eyes on it, it's like, hey, guys, we should probably take care of it.
Yeah, I can probably do that after the show, but see what happens. But, yeah, if WizKids is watching, please do not let somebody bring 3 title characters on their team. Because that's it, right? Because you have only the 2 ID cards, because all the Marvel ones don't have... You can't use Magneto Realist or Professor X. Not that you don't want to use Professor X, but up to 3 ID title characters on your force, as far as I know right now. So someone get out that. Or for Majestics, I want somebody to bring literally all title characters, because it's possible. Because
Captain America's sideline. Let's put the title Captain America on
Doctor Strange.
Or Doctor Strange. Like you don't even need to go to DC to do it.
So gross. So
that was my shenanigans of the week, and I'm very frightened that this will not be addressed, because I don't know who to ask. I don't know what to do.
Get on that, Judge. You want to be the best. Do your job. Get the people out there saying.
So yeah, now everybody's gonna be bringing 20 title characters on their teams. Fun stuff.
I'm not bringing that many title characters, because that many will die on my team. They will find a way to die on my team, and then I will all of a sudden be losing because of the negative effects on these guys. I mean, granted, they have fat dials. All of them, like, I think with the maybe exception of Doctor Strange, all of them have fatty dials for them.
Yeah, even Harley has 7.
Yeah, for a 60-point character.
Like, the Cullen ones are easy to poof. Like, Harley running shots, you sidestep. Joker charges, you sidestep. So it's not like they realistically will die, but... And they have hella bad when KO'd, because what Joker's is, basically, if your characters are adjacent, they ping each other for penetrating, and Harley gives out, essentially, power action regen, too. Yeah, Harley's is hilariously bad, but yeah, that was shenanigans. I should try. Maybe that can be a recurring segment, shenanigans of the week that I find in the rule book.
Might be a good thing to. Might just be a good thing to put eyes and ears on these ridiculous things. Because sometimes ruling loopholes is what we look for in competitive play, and that's a thing we need to do.
Yeah,
indeed.
This is why you talk to your judges before the event if you have an issue.
You know what? I always come with a backup plan in case some kind of stupid ruling kind of screws me. The only time something like that has really bollocksed me up, it was the WizKids Canadian Nationals one year.
Oh no! Oh no!
You know the story I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my team had an Indigo Battery, Superman, a Mixes Pitlick,
yeah.
Clarion with the what's his name, Proteus on Superman, and then Constructs, and then I had room for 1 ID card, and I had to deal with the Mystique problem in my head. And before I left for Canadian Nationals, they had ruled that if you called in Hellcat, she starts next to Mystique. And then because Hellcat ignores shape change on anybody as an inspiration, then I could attack the Hellcat with Superman, or attack Mystique with somebody No, with Hellcat even. And then, yeah, because there's hers was Inspires the character.
No. She had a damage power that said adjacent opposing can't use shape change.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, but that was her. Yeah, and then I would call her in to deal with Mystique in as few shots as I possibly could, or just get some damage on her, which would make her, lose her token or whatever. Anyway, long and the short of it is, on the drive there, I had written an article prior to for Majestics. Like, here's my team. This is my plan on what I'm going to do. On the drive between Toronto and Ottawa, like this, they made the ruling Wednesday. Thursday, we're on the road, and I think it was like an hour away from Ottawa, and they changed the ruling. And I was like, are you kidding me? I've written an article about this. I have to keep to this.
Was that the same year as the Sinestro Corps ruling where they changed it, right? Was it the same year?
It was the same year. That was a year.
Yeah, so they also changed because they were going back and yeah, because they were like flipping back and forth between Sinestro Corps, if Pulse Wave could ignore it, but and then they ruled that it did.
The Sinestro Corps came with a big sweeping set of weird changes that were more subtle than others, and that I looked at that and I said they changed the rules team about here. Like you could almost pinpoint the moment where it's like there's a new rules team. Mine was up in the air as far as things were concerned. And I get why they changed the ruling, because I had in my gut, I was like, that seems like a wrong ruling, but I'm going to abuse it because I need to kill Mystiques because they're problematic for my team.
Weren't you also trying to use Tickle to attack because it would begin the turn whatever next to her or something?
Yeah, Tickle would be the other option I'd have in that case. So I had two characters using blades that could potentially absolutely obliterate a Mystique in 2 shots. And apparently not. So, yeah. Anyway, so what was this tangent started on?
We're talking about the rules in general.
Yeah, so, rule. Sorry, that's my when a rules change really gets you. It's when it happens on the way to the tournament, and it really messes with you. And then I went to the judge. Now, this is what it was. Talk to your judge beforehand. I went to the judge immediately. I was like, look, this was my plan, but they changed this between Toronto and Ottawa today. Are you going by this ruling? He was like, yes. Thank you. I need to just deal with it now. And I think I called in Hellcat twice the entire weekend. Once was against you, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like they had a tracking chip on your car, and as soon as you cross, because I think that was a Quebec year, so you cross the border into Quebec, It's like, got him.
Got him. I do miss that venue because there was a nice rib place near there, near the hotel.
I think that was my favorite year of Nationals. It was just a great venue.
Was my favorite year. Not only
the rib place. Okay, I remember.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was a good performance year for me. It was a fantastic venue, and we even managed to cram more people in that hotel room than should have been in the hotel room. Yeah. I think we had 5 people because I was cuddling with Mike Payne. Amber was in the same bed with Emily, and Mike, you were on the air mattress.
Air mattress.
Yeah. And,
I was having my night sweats.
I woke up snuggling Mike Payne at least twice that weekend. So I think he was drilling on me once, and I was drilling. I drilled back on him. So that's another great thing about HeroClix is when you play competitively and you travel for it, you get these ridiculous road trip stories like drooling on your buddy or going to an event still drunk because Tom picked you up at 5 a.m.
Oh. Was that the Super Q he won in Michigan, I think?
What, me? No. This was what I'm talking about is a WKO that I got 4th place in.
Right.
I don't think I was still drunk when I was.
Was that Ottawa? I think
that was in Ottawa. Yeah.
Oh, that was the one I didn't go to, where they had Trinity War, for the cut, which was insane.
No. This is a different one. This
Another one?
You were there for. This was the one where we started having the really weird jokes about Gollum and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was the worst for me because I had built
chicken skin.
I'm never gonna forget that one because there was a lot of stuff that happened that tournament. I'd been playing Avengers Quinjet and I switched to Ultrons, which is easy mode. But on the other hand, I made Mike Payne the Loki team, the Loki Faust team, and it was like, oh, so you just completely hard counter me, and then I was top seed and he was bottom seed and he knocked me out. It would have also been the perfect event for me to win because that was when we still had not factory sets, Chase Prime sets, and it was Spider-Man. Getting all the Spider-Verse chases at one shot would have been good.
Yeah,
Mike feels me there.
Oh yeah,
that was a pain, but Ottawa, fun times. Rulings are weird.
Yeah, road trips are great. You get awesome things like
you get friends,
like the murder room, or or inappropriate touching in a Saint Hubert.
Oh, God.
Wonderful things happen.
That kid was so authoritative with you.
I know. I'm still talking with my therapist about it.
I like your belt buckle. That's great. Can I have it? Oh. These are things that happen on here at Quick's Road Trips.
My god!
I kind of wish I was brave enough to always be carrying a camera on me, or like have a police-ready body cam on, or like a GoPro on my belt or something like that.
We should have GoPros.
Just on our shoulders or on something. Just be like, just to share these ridiculous. You know what will happen though? The second we have the GoPros, these ridiculous moments just stop.
Well, I can only imagine the angle I would have got with a GoPro on my belt.
Just a chin looking up and
just came right in. That's so cool.
Oh man,
I could live without seeing that.
That's another thing. Every so often, I do collect some footage on camera, and one day I swear I'll put it together and do something with it. Nope, it's all lost to the hard drive wipe, isn't it? Oh well, them's the breaks. I had been collecting video footage of all of our all kinds of weird things and whatnot, and I guess I turned that into Move and Attack. Oh. All right, guys. We've overshared in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to move on to questions. If you're watching us live, big capital letters in front of it with the word question. So capital letters question, colon, your question, so we can see it in the chat, because sometimes the chat starts to take off around this time, or sometimes the chat takes off without you, and I can't quite catch it if it's not fully visible with that big old question. It helps catch the eye. And before moving to questions, if you want to support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Your support goes a long way towards helping us keep the channel alive, as it were, and keep the Adobe going. Amber does have some edited footage recently given to our patrons that should be going up very shortly to the rest of our fans. So keep your eyes open for that. As well, for Move and Attack, we have a link down below where you can submit your questions. They're completely anonymous. We should be filming that again sometime soon, hopefully sooner rather than later. Amber, did we release the ones for the Days Future Past weekend?
Honestly, I don't. If that's still on your phone, I don't think I edited that because I don't know what happened to my computer.
So yes or no? That's a no?
That's a no.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if we have the raw footage anymore.
Oh, I think we probably still do. Anyway, we're gonna look into that. Anyway, so get some more questions in for that. Like I said, they're anonymous, and we don't know who you are unless you want us to know who you are. All right. So we first question this week comes from Mr. Aaron Cantu of 2 Clicks from KO. He wants to know, who do you predict will win the Canada Cup? I predict Mike White.
Yeah, right.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. I should do the same thing to you. I predict
do it. I'm
Jason Collins.
so wrong. Wrong.
God. Who could pick? You know what? Actually, you know who I'm going to predict is going to win the Canada Cup, and I mean this in all seriousness. Emily's going to win the Canada Cup.
I like that.
I like that prediction.
Emily's going to win it. I think Emily's going to win it. I've managed to beat her team a couple of times, but more often than not, that's been dice. And Emily really knows her team. And she showed me at practice the other day that she's learned a whole other level to her team, and she's learned how to handle a lot of situations that are coming up in the current meta. So I think she's got a great shot.
I feel like this time in the meta, it's like, I feel like that's the longest anyone has been able to play one team idea, essentially, that long. Because, like, we haven't had that since, like, Resource days, where you could play, I don't know, what were people playing for a year? It's been like a year and a half now that she's been playing that team. So
yeah, she only had to make a small adjustment when World's Finest went out.
Yeah, she lost Clarion. But I just think with the ID cards now and how Sam can call in everything, I think the team is just definitely better now than it was before. So,
and then she brought in Dust, and Dust was a wonderful addition. That smoke cloud thing has screwed me up in numerous games. It's put the pressure on me, forced me to move into a position I didn't want to move my figures to just to escape it. I waste out wits in games on it. In fact, one of the games we played recently, it's the first thing I did was I put everything into getting out there to outwit the smoke cloud on Dust, so that Dust could never use the smoke cloud power in the whole game. I think she's got a great team. I really think she's worked so hard at it, and her attitude is great. I think she's really got a chance.
It's a really scary team considering how nice of a person she is.
Yeah. It is.
It's a delightful beatdown.
It's a mean team. She's done mean, horrible things to me that nice people aren't supposed to do.
Yeah, she's forced me to do some pretty stupid things too, and got a win out of me. Jay, who do you think is gonna? Are you still on Emily?
I think if we're talking people, or if we're talking just Canadians, not including Americans, just for this hypothetical. I think Emily. I even think once you include like PJ or whatever, I think she's still a pretty strong contender.
All right, and you're keeping that up there even with the Americans now. I'm gonna force you to include people. That
she was top 8 at nationals, and look how many Americans were there. So.
Yeah, I'm including the Americans in my guess that Emily could win this thing.
It's hard to argue with PJ, but I still think she has good odds.
I knew you just couldn't keep it in you, could you?
Well, he's a tricky little ginger.
He's reigning right now.
Right? Come on.
His win wasn't that long ago. It's not like, he's generally good. Like, he just won.
Fair point.
He's creative. I like what PJ does with teams and figures. He takes a lot of stuff that I'm not always looking at and brings interesting spins to it. So, of course, he's always got a chance when he shows up to an event. Absolutely.
It's that unfathomable ginger luck. Remember Mike Payne?
Yeah, it's the soullessness, right? I mean, you don't have a soul. You don't feel bad when you're totally screwing people over in a game with your evil.
See, I have beaten Mike Payne a few situations in competitive play, and both times I had plucked one of his ginger hairs when he wasn't looking. You just have to take one, guys. PJ, watch me around your beard, buddy. All right. Next up, it's been a while, and it's right here, guys. Mr. Strict Chris Stockhouse. We can officially put a stamp on this one. We haven't had an episode in weeks because he's been absent from his question asking. All right, but he does want to know, what do I need to run for Canada Cup? Alpha Flight team or Alpha Flight theme team? Super excited to be heading up there. We are super excited to have you, Mr. Chris Stockhouse. Apparently, you're staying at Jay's place. I'm under the impression you're not aware of this yet, so cover your drinks. But it's exciting to see more and more players are coming up this year than we've had in the past. I'm sorry. I apologize for that joke. That was so bad. A terrible joke. I should not have told that joke. Oh, man. I'm a bad person. Anyway, Chris is going to be a wonderful – I haven't seen you since ROC Cup last year, I think, because that was the last time we played against each other. If I remember correctly.
We weren't in Origins, so yeah.
Yeah. And it was one of those wonderful moments where we kind of looked at each other and said, I am so glad I'm at this table and not that table and not that table, because everybody was just being sour to each other. It was terrible to witness. It was the worst of HeroClix on either side of us. And it was like, this game is usually great. What the hell is going on around us? It was even protracted by the fact that like these guys are trying to call like 8 different rulings. The game hasn't even started yet. Time hasn't started yet, and 8 judge calls between the 2 tables on either side of us were made while they were trying to figure out whether or not they were disqualifying or some kind of weird error with. It was unbelievable, guys. Assume people understand the rules to some degree here. Oh. At the same time, though, before time starts is probably the best time for all that, so I do got to give them that. But like, there was bickering and arguing and whatnot.
Yeah, I've lost games based on just waiting for judge time. So, yeah,
time is extra precious now, right? Like again, we've talked about it before.
Well, because literally everybody's teams are doing 33% more stuff because everybody has leadership now. You're playing a grid, you're playing a Moira. Everybody has leaderships. Everybody's doing 4 actions. It's crazy.
One of my builds doesn't have a leadership.
Ooh.
Boo, bad build, boo. Mike's not going to win.
It's got a trick. It's got a trick.
He's playing Living Tribunal, so nobody gets their leadership now.
Shut up.
I broke it. I broke the meta. Now he's got to play something else.
Best.
All right. Next up, Corey Lundy. What figures are you hoping to come out in the next set release? How many different ways can I say Dr. Doom? Let me find out the German words for Dr. Doom while Mike goes ahead and gives his answer.
That's actually a hard one for me to nail down, because if I could and take my laptop over to the bookcase that's right over there, I have all the trade paperbacks from the whole Battle World Secret Wars storyline, and there were lots of great concepts and ideas in that. So I'm just so excited for the set. I hope it makes up for the What If set. That was a big letdown for me.
It was not very what ify.
No, I've been waiting for that set since I started playing HeroClix, and I felt like it should have been called the What the Fuck set. Oh, I mean the What the Fuck set.
I'm just gonna go take the monetizing off myself on that one.
That because it was it was wrong. It was resculpts and it was painful. So there's tons of stuff in this thing I want. I can't narrow it down to, I mean, everything they're showing already. We got a Spider Queen coming. I think that's going to be fantastic, and all of those spider-infected characters. I want to see another Capwolf again now from that. I loved what happened with the whole Spider Island storyline, where he started, Flash Thompson started injecting them all with like monster stuff. We had a Lizard Hulk. That would be kind of cool. And
I think we have an action token for him.
Yeah, we're getting an action token for him. See,
yeah, the token said is Spider Island.
Oh, well, look at that. See? So there's so much great stuff coming in here. I'm trying to think of which one I just I'm actually rereading them right now, just because why not? Man, I can't narrow it down to one. I'm sorry. There's just so many in there. There's a whole bunch of different people with symbiotes in there. We got Armin Zola's grown-up kid as a nomad in there. He's kind of neat. Yeah, there's too much stuff.
All right. In German, the character I want is Arts Untergang. Jay?
There's a lot of Thor-related stuff that's going to be cool. A generic Thor would kind of be cool if it was a good dial, like not a terrible 50-point dial like the common was, but like you could just give me a generic Thor core Thor and I can throw like 3 on an Asgardian team. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm pretty sure all the Asgardian stuff is going to be cool. So just looking forward to all of it.
En français, Docteur Condamné.
Yeah, keep on dreaming there.
Hold on. I'm gonna go Spanish now. I'm just gonna go Doom in Spanish. A condena. I want a Dr. Doom. That's it. You know what? This is gonna be a one-figure box. Just give me a little. I just want a little figure box. Send it to me. That just has Dr. Doom in it.
You know what you gotta do though? If you're doing the unboxing and you happen to pull the Dr. Doom as like the first reveal, you gotta just take the shirt off. You gotta.
I realize there. I have to add in there.
People don't need to see me in a sweater on this show. Go ahead.
Squadron Supreme. There was a whole battle world with all these different versions of the Squadron Supreme. So I would like to get some of those guys again, since now they are all of them. We've lost all of them now, haven't we? To retirement.
Yep.
So
Nighthawk was the last one. Well, also Nighthawk was just not. You can't play Nighthawk in a fun game.
No. So give us some new ones now. There was a whole bunch of different versions of them in that too, so that'd be kind of cool. I would like to see that, and the hulked out version of Steve Rogers from the weird Planet Hulk, and we can have another Devil Dinosaur, Captain America riding Devil Dinosaur. Also another good option. Anyway, sorry. Too many choices from Battle World.
It'd be cool if we got, because we just got the Hulk pool with the hulked out heroes old power set. So if we got a Captain America, it'd be pretty cool. Like, I was blown away that they kept that power set from all the way back in Incredible Hulk. So, yeah.
Ishi unme.
Shut up.
I was Japanese. I'm learning how to say Dr. Doom in multiple languages, apparently, because that's what I'm doing.
You think you are.
You know what? I'm just using the word Doctor and Doom in the English form. So for all I know, the Japanese actual direction should have been Unme Ishi, which is probably actually sounds more right.
You'd probably say you're causing international incidents right now.
I could very well be. I'm just using Google Translate. So if I'm immediately gonna. I am not to be held responsible for this. This is Google Translate's problem. Oh, by the way, I did listen to the phonetics on the listen version of the Japanese one, so kind of got it.
Your pronunciation seemed fine.
You know Japanese?
No, I just watch anime and stuff.
Fair enough. Oh, it was weird. Those words all seem small. Like Ishii does for a doctor, really? And Unme?
Because it's a title. If you have to say it a lot, I don't know.
Canada!
Somebody's seen Akira.
Like a million times.
Yeah, it's probably. I used to have a VHS until I wore it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, Mr. Michael Fedor, the Alpha patron, the first patron, and hopefully never has to be the last patron. He wants to know, what strategy might you use to tie up Lockjaw? I hear a collar, a tree, and a biscuit will work. Just got to tell him to stay. All right. But seriously, tying up a Lockjaw is a task I wouldn't wish upon anybody, because all they have to do is choose phasing and they're out of there.
Right. We're just half phasing on title.
Yeah. Or what you do, like I managed to do, is get 3 walking woods next to him on the same turn and somehow actually hit with all 6 of the attacks from those flurries and kill him in one turn.
That doesn't seem like a great player, to be honest.
It was great, though.
Yeah, Mike feels fantastic.
I felt really good about it.
I can imagine that's an interesting high.
No one thought that was ever going to happen. You're not going to roll an 8 or higher 6 times in a row.
Like, I think
Apparently,
Mike is the only story of a Lockjaw dying I've ever seen or been around to hear. I mean, I'm sure people have killed Lockjaws. I don't want to say that, but like in my own personal witnessing, and I watched the U.S. national stream. Lockjaw was there. He didn't die on the screen.
Yeah, this was at Canadian National.
Yeah, because Dan,
one of my few good moments at Canadian.
Yeah, Dan lost because of a roll-off.
Yeah, Dan lost on screen to a roll-off. Noah, I think Dan was actually the only Lockjaw that I saw on the stream. To be 100% honest on that
I
case.
kind of remember my playtesting games. I never brought Lockjaw. I playtested with Lockjaw a bunch. I never brought it to a tournament until.
He's so good, man.
Yeah,
Such a good boy. He's a good boy.
I've had some games where I actually managed to get a lot of tokens back on, funnily enough. But yeah, it's not an easy task.
Yeah. Also want to point out Fuzzy Wumple in the chat has predicted that Patrick Yaboko will win the Canadian ROC Canada Cup. I'd be happy that he showed up.
I mean, yeah,
I'd tell Amber that I'm going to be out late drinking. Sorry. My California bestie came down. Hey, California knows how to party.
Up, by the way. We're north.
Yeah, but I like to get down.
He's coming up.
Are they on a higher elevation, though? No, they're going to sink. Never mind.
I think they're pretty much parallel to us. Aren't they?
It's all technicalities. All right. Jay confirmed for a Naruto burrito. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, I'm not even reading questions. I'm just reading straight comments because this is the content.
Get to pin anybody this week.
All right. We got one question in the chat, guys. If you're watching live, you have a chance, and this question will be answered very quickly. So get your questions in fast. Happy Little Hero Clicks wants to know. It looks like his question was answered, but more people might want to hear it. The new Starro has 3 lightning bolts and mind control. On top of that, he has a bystander token where you KO them to target anywhere on the map. Could I KO a Starro to fight for a 4th target mind control? Jay?
No, because it just affects who you're targeting, not.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It just affects how far you can target, basically.
It affects, so you can KO the Starro fight. To target an opposing character regardless of range or line of fire.
Okay. Well, I'm honestly just trying to check if HeroClix.com happened to get something while we were chatting.
No.
I don't even think they get previews anymore on that, do they?
No. They do the link where they compile previews that other people did, but no, not
There's
themselves.
nothing started for Battle World yet. Okay, cool. That's fine.
I mean, the set, we don't have a release date, technically. We just know October.
So, November.
I mean, we have dates on the pre-releases. The pre-releases are generally a week.
True.
Like a week before, right? I believe they end on the 16th.
So not legal for the World Cup.
Probably not.
No, definitely not. Because if that's pre-release, then release plus a week.
No, hold on. Allow me. My date was a guess. I'm not sure what the end cap date on the pre-release is. I said the 16th with a question mark in quotations.
You know what? I will actually just pull up the time.
Access to this information. It's an important factor I was trying to bring up. It's like,
if you give me a second,
I'm buying you the second, man, with vamping here.
Available templates, Battle World. Must be scheduled between October 3rd and Wednesday the 17th. You were actually close.
I was actually pretty close. Damn.
So
all right. So that won't be legal for Rock.
So that means that everything that's going to be legal at the World Cup is out, except for the stuff that we know what it is, the ID cards that's not physically out yet.
Yeah, because so right now it'll be the October ID cards are the last one. So the last ID card, all the ID cards will be out, but not the Tri.
We will have Colossus and Rachel Summers. We will not have the Tri-Sentinel, nor Magneto or Storm.
Wouldn't Magneto Storm be technically October 1st?
No, they come out in October, so November 7th. Or no, wait, it's August now. November. Wait, September. September's next month.
Ladies and gentlemen, we broke Jay. In the meantime, Jay, Braden wants to know, what do you think I need to work on for my team from last night? Great. No context. Just tell him.
Okay, for the viewers. It was Star Fox, 100-point Starro, 2 Groots, something else with Cosmic? I can't even remember.
Was it Pedro's team?
It was similar.
To play like Pedro.
It's very similar to my team too, right? Star Fox, double group.
Yeah, I think the main problem was that Star Fox never made like relevant attacks ever. Like he flurried my Mudmen when they were already in his face. Like basically all Star Fox did that game was up Star was attacked by 2 to shoot into the boxing ring to negate the thing, but Star Fox never attacked. And you probably want to get a Mjolnir at some point because that makes him incredibly more playable. I know he's trying for a Mjolnir, but yeah. I'm sure there could be somebody that could lend it to you for the Canada Cup. I know Mike has one. It doesn't seem like he's playing it. You're going to slip back to your team.
The odds are very high.
You love Unseen as much as you hated Nick Fury.
I do. It's actually true. For exactly the amount that I hated Nick Fury is an equal amount of how much I love Unseen. With Cosmo, I can't get enough of Unseen and Cosmo together. I don't know what it is. He goes for walks with this little dog, holding him in his arms. Hello, he's my puppy.
It is as owner says, I am good dog.
He is very good boy. Yes. I like.
Jeez Louise. Okay, I do want to readdress what I was saying earlier. If anybody's complaining about the price of hero clicks, I am 8 cards into my sideboard of this deck, and the total is $322.04. I am not buying this sideboard.
And what? A Magic deck itself is 60 cards?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about what the deck itself cost me.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't really need to own stuff in this game if you have a good network of borrowing. Like, they're definitely, I know competitive
Magic, you need to own this stuff because nobody's loaning you their cards. They're $150 cards.
Right.
It's like, can I borrow your Liliana? Sure. Just be careful. Why are you shuffling it?
I do prefer not to borrow, mostly because if someone changes their mind and then they won't need it.
Yeah.
Right? Like all of a sudden they change their build and they're like, damn, I need that back. And now I'm like, what?
That has in the past burned me, and I just had to suck it up. Braden wants us to go fund him a Mjolnir. Okay, but you go fund me a car first. There's the deal.
Hey, I'm already borrowing a Mjolnir. Mine's already a borrowed Mjolnir.
How was yours?
Oh, is it Sean's?
Mine's Sean's. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
What happened to the one that you got from the Battle Royale?
Remember, I didn't get it because I didn't win.
Oh, Tom got that?
Because remember the Thor fell apart.
I do remember the Thor falling apart. That's memorable.
No, but he literally fell apart. Remember, he
was comic accurate because he had brittle bone disease in the story. It was great.
Like I missed 2 times in that game with him. Even
it was the loudest Battle Royale that weekend because we were laughing so damn hard.
You were sitting there with your Tyrannoids, being like, "Okay, come on, Tyrannoids, let's move, let's do stuff."
I was just like, there's a Thor with a Mjolnir. Tyrannoids can go play this game. I'm not playing hero clicks. The heck with that.
Yeah. No, I didn't get him. Remember, I came last. I was last.
I forgot that was Sean's Mjolnir.
Sean's. Thanks, Sean.
I
my Mjolnir
won that somehow.
Yeah, my Mjolnir's already spoken for because Devin's been using it with his Moondragon forever. So...
So kind of like, what was it? Was it Mike Payne with my? There's a couple of players who's
Adam?
like, yeah, and what was it Tom with my Nightwing? No, sorry, it wasn't Mike Payne with my Adam. It was Mike Payne with my Sharon Carter, the Civil War Target exclusive. He used that for like 6 months, and I was like, I own the figure. But Mike has used it more than I've ever seen it. Tom has used my Nightwing ID card and Nightwing figure more than I ever have.
I don't think I've ever borrowed from you.
Mike Payne and my Doc Ock monthly OP.
Oh,
that's how he ended up with 2. So it's my fault that he had double Doc Ocks for as long as he did.
I managed to squeak out a win against him with a shredder, so no hard feelings on that one. You're good.
I remember that tournament where you brought shredders and Rennet basically, and
Yeah,
random
shred it
and random Green Lantern.
Yep. two Green Lanterns. Wasn't it? Was it 2 Green Lanterns?
I don't remember.
I remember it was one of those Rock Age events.
It was 400, I think, wasn't it?
Was it 400?
Was.
I'm gonna have to build that team now just to see how many points it is.
Yeah, Rennet, Mini, Clone, Double Green Lantern sounds about 400 to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up getting like top.
You were sick of just what was that, a Winamap? Was that a GTA League or something?
It was a GTA League event, yeah.
Okay.
And I was sick of something.
Dice.
Yes, I was having a bad string of dice, and I was sick of Nick Fury. So I was like, you know what? The heck with it. I'm just gonna not roll dice for this tournament.
Why would you want to roll dice? Dice are stupid.
I think I went undefeated in Swiss with that team, and then lost in the single elimination. As I often do, and I really got to stop letting him do it. Jason Osorio. Well, I'll always beat him in the Swiss and then lose to him in the single eliminations. Like, why do I keep letting him do this?
Good question.
So, anyway.
Relevant question.
What's that?
It was a relevant question.
It's a personal question. It's introspection. Yeah. We're in the midst of a bunch of introspection, apparently. On that note, guys, I want to thank Jay and Mike for joining me on the show today. I want to thank everybody who's watching us live and who's been in the chat. I want to thank you if you're watching in the archive version. Really appreciate your viewership. I also want to take a second to thank our sponsors over at majesticccg.com/apex-insiders. $3 a month gets you brain dumps from some of the greats in the game, including some high-level champions and some crazies who occasionally write articles for them, like myself. Jay is also a regular contributor as well. He's another of the crazies, as it were, with his little fringe articles. I say little fringe articles. His articles about the little fringe characters that we often forget about. I kind of put that in the wrong way. His articles are great, and they're about characters we don't think about. So keep your eyes on those articles. In fact, at one point, he wrote an article, and the next week, Paris Gordon did fairly well with the Wizard. So never forget that Jay has the potential to change your mind about somebody. I also want to thank our patrons at patreon.com/clicks and remind them that our next patron hangout will not be the usual weekend, which would normally be this Sunday, September 2nd. It is, in fact, going to be next Sunday, September 9th. That's because there's a holiday this weekend. It's also the last holiday before we send the kids off to school, the Labor Day weekend. So I'm going to spend a little time with the family before we kind of ship them off to school and cheer as my wife is the happiest thing in the world, as she will get some freedom from the children. The children's, as it were. So September 9th will be our next patron hangout. You guys can watch that live, or you can join us at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks, and any valuation will get you access to that, along with our Discord, which has been fairly quiet, but it appears everyone has gotten jobs. So everybody's working and busy, which is, I appreciate that. It's always good to hear that people are working. That is the least bad thing to be missing out on something for. So if you're working, that's great news. Speaking of working, if you're planning on coming to the ROC Canada Cup on September 23rd at Comic Book Addiction at 11 a.m. registration time, that's 701 Brock Street. I'm making things up right now, and I think I'm actually kind of right. Hold on. I have the link down below. The link down below is for the Facebook page and the event page. Check them out. And if you're getting ready for that, you're doing the work, and part of that work will be practice, because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody. I'm going to awkwardly hang on this before I hit stop.